Module 2, Figurative Language and Creative Writing by Marisela Gonzalez. Greetings, my name is Ms. Gonzalez, and you are now viewing Module 2, Figurative Language and Creative Writing. In this module, we will discuss the following. You will learn how to use figurative language in your creative writing piece to enhance imagery, appeal to the five senses, and suggest mood. You will identify what 5 figurative language types are and efforts to use them in your creative writing project. You will then identify what personification is. You will then identify what a metaphor is and how it is similar to a simile. You will then identify what a hyperbole and an idiom are. Make sure to pay close attention to the special notes icon at the bottom of your screen in efforts to supplement your multimedia training. Hope you enjoy. Objective 2.1. You will identify what 5 figurative language types are and efforts to use them in the creative writing project. Why is figurative language important to use in your writing? Figurative language really helps drive home the point that you are intending to make to the reader. As you can see, there are various types: simile, oxymoron, idiom, alliteration, hyperbole, personification, pun, onomatopoeia, and metaphor. Within this lesson, we will solely focus on 5. Objective 2.2. You will identify what personification is. Number 1. Personification. Giving an inanimate object human-like characteristics. If you look to the right, you have an image for personification. I'm yummy, eat me. The cupcake was calling to her. That is what the cupcake was calling to her would look like if you saw it in the literal sense. Of course, the cupcake was not literally calling to her, so therefore, it would make no sense to think that the cupcake said, I'm yummy, eat me. Instead, what the cupcake was calling to her means is that it was so delicious that it just made her want to eat the cupcake. Take a moment to reflect at the note below. Another example of personification is as follows. The sun was smiling at me. The sun is an inanimate object because the sun does not have a reproductive system, nor does it interact with the environment internally. If you give the sun human-like characteristics, then you have personified the sun. Objective 2.3. You will then identify what a metaphor is and how it is similar to a simile. My simile is like your metaphor. You're as skinny as a rail, and you're a mountain. Simile, metaphor. Take a moment to reflect on the note below. Metaphors are like similes minus the like or the as that you would find in a simile. Number 2, metaphor. A metaphor compares two unlike things without using like or as. The following are examples of metaphors that you may have heard of. Number 1. Time, you thief. Does this mean that time is an actual thief? It means that they are comparing time with being a thief. What does a thief do in the practical sense? A thief robs somebody or someone. So if you know what the thief does in the practical sense, you can then transfer it to think, well, what is time doing then? Well, time robs us of our life 1 second at a time. So therefore, time, you thief, makes a lot of sense. Number 2, memory is a crazy woman that hoards colored rags and throws away food. Is memory itself a crazy woman that hoards colored rags and throws away food? No, but in this case, memory is being compared to the likes of a crazy woman that hoards colored rags and throws away food. Number 3, life is a zoo in a jungle. Life is a perpetual zoo. Or is life actually a zoo with animals? Here, life is being compared to a zoo in a jungle. This is the comparison. There are plenty of other fish in the sea. What do you think this metaphor means? Simile. A simile is a comparison of two unlike things using like or as. Examples. When he lifted me up in his arms, I felt I had left all my troubles on the floor beneath me, like gigantic concrete shoes. Here, the simile is the part that says, like gigantic concrete shoes. The fact that he lifted him up with his arms, he felt in his heart a feeling that his troubles themselves had dissipated or gone away. This right here is being compared to gigantic concrete shoes. Next, she dealt with moral problems as a cleaver deals with meat. A cleaver basically is what you would use to chop the meat. So how is she dealing with the moral problems? Simile, she moves like a snail. What do you think they are trying to say by this? She moves like a snail. They're trying to say that she moves slow, correct? Objective 2.4. You will then identify what a hyperbole and an idiom are. Hyperbole. I'm starving. People say this line all the time. Really? You're starving? Lay off me, I'm starving. It appears that this person isn't actually starving, but we commonly do say that. We are starving, which just means that we are extremely hungry. We are very hungry. So therefore, in order to really drive home the point, we use figurative language to exaggerate. And that is what hyperbole is, an extreme exaggeration. Idiom. Cat got your tongue? Cat got your tongue is an expression. It is not comparing anything to anything else. However, it is still figurative language. It falls under the figurative language umbrella. This is a shortened form of has the cat got your tongue? This idiom is used to compel someone to speak, say something, or give a response when you're unusually quiet. It is similar to saying, have you nothing to say? Of course, as a creative writer, if you say, cat got your tongue, it is just more intense. It has greater depth than simply saying a line like, have you nothing to say? And as a creative writer, it is important that you really grasp the reader's attention and you drive home the message that you would like the reader to get from coming away from your reading. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is a noun. It's an exaggerated statement or statements or claims not meant to be taken literally. That dog weighs a ton. Does he really weigh a ton? How much is a ton? So therefore, the dog does not weigh a ton, but what do they really want to try to drive home when they say, that dog weighs a ton? Exactly. They are trying to say that the dog weighs a lot. Take a moment to reflect on the special note below. Hyperboles are not supposed to be taken seriously. So what is an idiom? If you're having trouble thinking about what an idiom is, here is another example. An idiom is an expression that doesn't exactly mean what the words say. Very similar to hyperbole. She spilled the beans. However, in an idiom, she spilled the beans is a figurative way of saying that she talked too much and told the secret. Take a moment to look at the special notes below. Idioms are numerous and they occur frequently in all languages. There are estimated to be at least 25,000 idiomatic expressions in the English language. Now it's time to take a quiz. Number 1. Which stylistic element best describes the following picture? I'm right there in the room, and no one even acknowledges me. Oh, the miraculous elephant in the room. Is it A, idiom, or is it B, metaphor? If you chose A, idiom, you are correct. Number 2. Which stylistic element best describes the following picture? Last night I slept like a log. Is it A, hyperbole, or is it B, simile? If you chose B, simile, you are correct. Number 3. Which stylistic element describes the following picture? When you grow up, your heart dies. Is it A, personification, or is it B, idiom? If you chose B, idiom, you are correct. Number 4. Which stylistic element best describes the following picture? My feet are killing me. Is it A, simile, or is it B, hyperbole? If you chose B, hyperbole, you are correct. And number 5. Which stylistic element describes the following picture? I figure life's a gift. I don't intend on wasting it. Is it A, metaphor, or is it B, personification? If you chose A, metaphor, you are correct. Having viewed this lesson module, you learned about 5 figurative language types to incorporate into your creative writing piece in order to enhance imagery, appeal to the 5 senses, and suggest mood. Now it's time to move on to module number 3, writing your creative writing prompt. There you will learn how to write a 400-word creative writing short story. Identify what an effective creative writing sample is and isn't. Write a 400-word creative writing short story based off of a prompt, and analyze writing based off of a provided checklist. Also, identify the logical writing flow. Hope you enjoy.